Hey, everybody, how are you? Chappy here, along with Tyson and Dusty. We are so happy to have you here. Hey, I just wanted to start and touch up on something. I know that in one of the videos that we recently put out, where we were showing a hole that we found in the ground, which was pretty exciting and pretty interesting. There was a little blooper, a mess up there, where my phone number got out there to the public. And you know what? Hey, as you're growing and we're learning, as you know, as a YouTube channel, and when we're not always able to be in the same place and we don't have real good reception, that kind of stuff, things happen, man. It's all good. I get it. I appreciate the flood, and I mean a flood of text messages that I received from viewers saying, "Hey, bro, just a heads up, man, your phone number's out there," and it's a big deal. I get it, man. It's a big deal. It's a privacy issue, but I was really happy about the fact that so many of you had my back. So I just wanted to say, we'll get the phone number thing remedied. No big deal. Akuna Matata, water off the duck's back, but I was floored by the outpouring of love from you guys and how many of you were trying to have my back and let me know so that I could take care of that. And I appreciate it. I love y'all. And I just wanted to get that out there and let you know that. I think Tyson has something he wants to talk about, right, Tyson?
Well, I just wanted to talk briefly about the Cadaver Dogs that went out today with Andy Mormon. We were out there this morning, as everybody knows, and we actually saw Andy Mormon down there getting ready to go with the dogs, and so they went on down there to the beach area, and I guess they had a couple of hits down there, really strong hits on that construction site. And it sounds to me, what I was able to see, just briefly, around YouTube and whatnot, it looks like this has a potential to be a really strong lead in this case. Have you guys heard much about this yet?
I got a message about it right before we came on, but I didn't know where it was, so I was glad to hear it was at that actual site where it was, because I'm not glad to hear, but it does make a lot of sense that it would be there, that it would hit. And a lot of people have been wanting a lot of people to pay attention to that spot. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I guess we lost Chappy. But yeah, no, that sounds to me like it has a potential to be a big lead in this case. Those dogs. And I am seeing some comments here that it might be only one area where these dogs hit, but I had heard two earlier today. So it's either one or two. But anyway, these Cadaver Dogs were hitting on some spots down there today. So that's pretty big information as far as I'm concerned. Chappy, we lost you there for a second.
I vanished for a minute, huh? I pulled a Houdini there.
Did you have to go to the bathroom or something?
Yeah, no, I don't know what happened. I was actually reading the comments, and I think I accidentally clicked exit, and boom, I was gone.
Well,
I've done that before. I didn't lie.
Yeah, you got to watch that ejection button.
I know.
Yeah, but we have.
So anyway, in the comments, they're saying it was two places. They've only revealed one location.
Oh, yeah. 2 dogs, 1 area. So thank you for the clarification on that. And also thank you for the donation, Ann Pena. Where did her comment go? I wanted to show her comment. It said, praying for you all, and that God will show up in a mighty way. Lord, we need a miracle. So thank you, Ann Pena. So,
can I just talk to that with the tens of thousands of people that have been praying for success this weekend, for the opportunity for us to bring resolution to this family and to find Suzanne? You know what? I believe in the power of prayer, and tens of thousands of people lifting their voice and sending positive vibes and all that. Maybe these dogs, maybe they were the answer to prayer. Maybe we're going to have some resolution this weekend.
Yes, sir. That's exactly what I was thinking too when I heard that news. We've been praying, we've been asking, and you guys have been following us from home and doing the same thing there, and we might have some answer to prayer right here, happening right in front of our eyes here, Chappy. So
I believe that might be the case.
Yep. Well, either way, we're going to keep the faith. So, Chappy, you.
Yeah. Oh,
that comment there.
Hey, thanks, Molly. I appreciate that.
It's not little things, though.
I don't know what to say other than that. Thanks.
I was wondering what everybody was giggling at. And
sorry about that.
I saw that. So
I got distracted by
that. We appreciate that, Molly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you guys are so awesome, man. It's nice to be hanging out with you tonight. We're going to try to, give you guys some information that we have. We have what everybody else has, basically. Chappy and I, we were down there at the site again this morning. We did put some boots on the ground, much like we did, in the videos that we're putting out now. We were able to go down and talk to some of the volunteers down there today who were giving out bananas and some snacks to the searchers, and just visit with people a little bit, do one last scouring of the woods there. And then Chappy and I, we decided it was time for us to head back to Chappy's house here in New Mexico. So that's where we're at tonight. So, but it was a great trip, Chap. What do you think?
Oh, man, it was absolutely great. Again, I know I spoke to this earlier this morning, but I got to just touch on it again. The people of this community are absolutely amazing. The folks that were just donating hours, donating money, donating lodging and food and water, and bringing in resources such as horses and cadaver dogs and ATVs and all kinds of things just to allow us to have a successful search. Man, it just blows my mind how good people are. Hey, Tyson, speaking of how good people are, you want to talk about that lady at the gas station, or save that for another day?
The lady at the gas station? Yeah, go ahead, Chappy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was
go ahead.
So cool.
Yeah, tell us about that.
All right. So first of all, we should never judge a book by its cover. I'm just saying. I won't go into all the details there. But as we were pulling into a gas station, this little old lady, she tried to tell us, because the pump that we pulled up to was out of order. And she's like, "Hey, guys, that one's out of order. It's not going to work for you." Tyson's, "Oh, thank you for letting us know." But it was the cutest little thing. She goes, "Hey, guys, if you want to save a couple of, a little bit of money, I have 30 cents off. When I'm done filling up my tank, just pull around and you guys can fill up." Well, I'm like, "Well, how's that going to work if your credit card is attached to this?" She goes, "Oh, I didn't really think about that. Do you have any cash?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do. It's fine." So I gave her some cash and we filled up, and we cut it off right at the amount of cash that I gave her. But it saved us some money. This sweet little lady, she just wanted to help us save some money. 30 cents off per gallon. It was incredible. People are good. Yeah. That's all I gotta say is people are good. I love it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Chappy. And I think that's what we said as we were driving out of that gas station. I said, how does this stuff keep happening? Like, and I truly believe that good is attracted to good.
It's reciprocal.
It's very reciprocal. And it's, we're out doing good. We're out there trying to help in any way that we can, and good things come back to us. And that was just one small little token of an example, but really, man, we got gas for $1.99 a gallon.
I know. That's unheard of. And we're in Colorado, dude.
Yeah, I know. So, we've just been blessed. We've been blessed. So we're grateful.
Great.
Yeah, and we saw so many examples, guys, of just service. People serving out of the kindness of their hearts. That's it. That's the only reason. They didn't have any ulterior motives or financial gain or fame or anything. It was just that people are serving out of the goodness of their hearts, and it's so awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, it was great. I love it. Dusty, hey, I got a question for you, bud.
Sure.
So having an outside perspective, being able to see all of the information as it comes in, Tyson and I weren't always able to get information as it was happening in real time. And I know that you were kind of watching the search and what was going on. What was your impressions? What kind of stuck with you during the search the last couple of days?
Well, I mentioned this earlier on our live this morning, but just seeing, I've watched the videos where Tyson was up there alone, well, sort of alone until Barry showed up. He was alone, but I've watched those probably 100 times, different videos, and just seeing that place flooded with people was just, I was thinking, why hasn't this happened earlier? Why wasn't it like that, like every weekend, trying to find Suzanne? But, it was really neat to see everybody coming from all over the country. I don't know if anybody came from another country or not, but I do know that a lot came from, at least as far as Indiana and places like that. So that was probably what stood out to me the most. And it was just, I really wished I could have been there with you guys. It was hard to be in home and watching all that and not being able to, especially after Tyson and I went to Delphi together and we got to do that stuff. And, I just, it's hard being in the wings, and I don't expect to go on every one of those, but it's really hard when you've already gone to some and then you aren't able to go again. But I know that's probably for the best in this situation, but I look forward to times when we all get to go together, because we haven't all been together on one yet. So.
Yeah, Dusty, and just so you know, we were thinking about you. We talked about you all the time. We were missing you, man, and we're so grateful though that you were still able to be there to support and to get information to us and get information out from us. And man, you're just a godsend, and I mean, what you do is awesome, man. So
I appreciate
you.
Well, we're a team. I couldn't do none of this without you guys. So
yeah, absolutely. So I want to do something a little bit different, if that's okay. I want to see if maybe we can get some questions from our viewers, those who perhaps have been watching from afar as well, but just haven't received certain answers to questions. We're going to do our best to try and answer those questions. Of course, we won't have all of the information, but we'd like to answer any questions that you have. Would that be okay, Dusty and Tyson?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I was just going to tell you that. Let's start off with that question that's on the screen right there. So, but go ahead, Chappy, go ahead. We already got a good question up there, but go ahead and say what you were going to say.
No, I was just going to say I'm going to need to rely on you guys, because if I try to look at the comments like I did last time, I'll probably get ejected again. So if you guys can just shoot the questions out, we'll answer them as best we can.
All right. Okay, so the first question from Josie, I must echo the question. Tyson, tell us about the hole. And I like her enthusiasm with all those exclamation marks.
Exclamation points.
Yeah. The hole. So if you guys saw the video, we do have it back up now on our site. If you haven't seen it, when this live is over, go check it out. Chappy and I had some drive time, some windshield time in the truck as we were driving up there to Colorado. And one of the things that we were talking about was, trying to fulfill all the promises that we had made to people. We had talked to a lot of psychics, and they were reaching out to us like crazy, man, probably over the last couple of months, and telling us that there was a certain area that we needed to go check. And so to fulfill that promise, and also we kind of had a hunch, in that area too. And so we went over there, and we were, in that same spot where I was at before a couple months ago, by those cabins. We went down by the cabins and looked around a little bit and went back behind them. There's a little creek back there. We kind of went back there. And as we were walking along, the trees kind of opened up. There was an opening in the trees. And I thought that was interesting. I said, I'm going to go over there and kind of see what's in this little opening. And as we were walking along, we discovered a hole in the ground. And I looked at it, and it immediately caught my attention, because I could tell it wasn't dug with a machine, tractor, like a backhoe or something. It was just round, and it was like you could see the marks from the shovel and whatnot. And so it just really grabbed my attention. And so by the time Chappy got over there with the camera, I was already down there digging it out, and we were trying to just see what it was all about. There was some duff in the bottom, probably a couple of inches thick. I cleared that out of there, And then we started kind of getting down into the bottom of the hole, and it sounded very hollow as I was tapping on it. And I couldn't tell if it was like a root that had gotten rotten or a piece of wood or something under there that, you know, how they sound when you tap on them when they're hollow. Couldn't tell if it was that or if it was a bigger opening that was, you know, was like a box or something in there. So we just decided at that point that we were going, well, Chappy decided that we were going to stop what we were doing and immediately contact law enforcement. And so you can see this on the video. They took the call very seriously, and they sent their crime scene investigators to the site, and we met them, and they went down and took pictures and took a axe and a pickaxe, and they went down there and they dug out the area, and they came back up. They had us wait at the top of the hill. And when they came back up, they told us that, you know, they hit the bottom of the hole and they weren't able to find anything out of the ordinary. So it ended up, you know, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're going to go back and check for anything else. It didn't sound like it, but, you know, we were able to check it off our list and move on, Chappy. But it was something that law enforcement was definitely interested in. You know,
and the key is that when you find something that is just out of place, something that's unusual, doesn't make sense for the surroundings that it's in, you have to investigate it. You have to find out if there's any merit to it. Is there any evidentiary value to it, to the case at hand? In this case, there wasn't, but it's important because every little thing that you see, you can't discredit because it may lead to a bigger thing. You know, you got to follow the breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs will lead to exactly where you need to be. So, you know, I think we did the right thing in contacting law enforcement, and I've got to say they did an outstanding job. They took it as seriously as anything else, and they did a good job in ruling that out as anything of value. So,
well, and we also watched them collect another piece of evidence. And do you want me to bring that up, Chappy? Are you okay
go
with me
for it? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Chappy had found a bone out there that looked a lot different than all the other bones that we had seen. I know we mentioned this earlier today, but not everybody's seen it. But this bone was peculiar for several reasons. Chappy, if I remember right, the bone was sawed off at each end, huh? It wasn't like it wasn't a natural bone. Somebody had taken something and cut it. So that was number one. And number two, it was fresh. It had oils in it, and it had. So we didn't touch it. We called them, and they came out, and they actually brown bagged that in an evidence bag, and took that one in and had the who was it, Chappy?
Medical examiner. It's the medical examiner.
Yeah, the medical examiner determined that it was non-human, and they also ruled that one out. And they were very punctual, I should say very prompt about getting back with me and letting me know that neither one of those items were of, you know, value to this case. And, you know, so we honored their wishes right away and let everybody know right away within the first 2 or 3 minutes. So we don't want to spread speculation. And so they let us know, and we let you guys know right up front.
So I just got sent a picture, and I think it might be the one that they were talking about. So this is a question from Lynn. Do you have the photo of Barry laying on the ground during the search? They showed it on Profile and Evil. So I have this photo somebody sent me. I don't know let me get her comment off of there first. Hold on a second, because it covers up what I'm trying to show you.
Hey, somebody's bumping into their microphone. You guys are about ready to blow my eardrums out. I don't know who it is, but man, it's banging in my ears.
Can anybody find her comment? And
you guys hear that? You guys hear that? Someone's.
I can hear it. I went on mute, so and I could still hear it. So.
Oh, maybe you're accidentally bumping the microphone, but.
I could still hear it. Anyway,
I can't hear anything. Maybe it's me, but I'm not moving. So I'm trying to take this comment down, but I can't find it because there's so many. Can you guys find it?
Find what? No.
Just comment that's here so we can click.
Okay, well, let me talk about that question while you're looking there. Lynn, thank you for asking that question. Now, you have to understand something, that this photo was not of Barry was not taken during this latest search. This was during the original search when Barry, back in May, when Suzanne first went missing, and Barry had organized a search with his friends from Indiana, and they came out and they spent 4 days searching. That is when this picture was taken, not during this search. I just wanted to make that clarification first of all.
You want to talk about that? How you found out about that first time?
Well, what I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I know that, Barry was out searching with some of his friends from Indiana, and they got out there way off on a mountain somewhere, and Barry fell down on the ground and was laying there, and he was apparently showing some kind of emotion or something, and somebody snapped a picture of him, and that's basically all I know about that. So it was just kind of an awkward thing. I mean, I don't know how, it could be looked at as awkward. And I guess we see him right there laying down. Yeah, good job on finding that, Dusty.
Sorry, it took me a while to get it.
No, it's okay. But in that picture, you can see Barry laying down at the very bottom in the black, or down there at the bottom. I'm sure most of you guys have probably already seen it. All right, you can take it down, Dusty. But I mean, that could be looked at two different ways. Was he fatigued? Was he tired, from being out searching, or was it something else? I mean, I just don't know. I don't know what was going on, what the sequence of events was. What are your thoughts, Chappy?
I know nothing about this photo, to be honest with you, but in just looking at it, I can tell you that I've had to give death notifications to family members. I've had to console family members while conducting searches and such in the past. And sometimes the grieving process is a little odd. Sometimes people can behave oddly. So, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Perhaps there was a moment of grief that he was feeling, and perhaps he was displaying it in an odd way. But that's about all I can say to that, because I'm not really certain, the details of this photo.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Dustin.
I was going to say, I would think that maybe there was some people there with him. And I would think maybe it was a fake emotional breakdown. I'm not accusing him of doing that. I'm just saying, like, he doesn't seem like the emotional type to me to be breaking down over something. And he hasn't showed any of that so far, as far as I've seen. So if he did have a breakdown, then
Yeah, I mean,
I'd have to be skeptical of it. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dusty. I mean, because we got to look at the pattern here, and what's happened since then. Because that picture was taken 3 months ago, or May, June, is it three or however long it's been? It's been months, and we've just kind of got a pattern of Barry's behavior now, and it doesn't really coincide with him having a breakdown. But I don't know, man. It's tough to say. It really is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be able to say with any kind of definity, but I mean, it's odd. It's different from what he's been, how he has been behaving.
Yep. Okay. So do we have another question?
I can't see the questions. I just see that this is the first time that Carol's seen that video or photo. Me too, Carol. Me and you in the same boat, man.
Okay, here we go. I think I got one right. Let me see if. Oh, I don't know. Nope, it jumped on me. Where'd it go? Oh man, do you see any?
I'm looking.
If I accidentally hit the eject button, I'm sorry. Let me take a look here.
Okay, right here. Let's go back to this real quick since we're looking for some other questions, and I'm actually seeing this in the comments a lot right now about the dogs. Chappie, do you want to just kind of hit on that a little bit?
Yeah, let me get back to where I can see that. Hold on just a second. Boy, I hope I don't eject. Hold on. There we go. All right. Can you please tell us something about the dogs hitting? Okay. So again, we have very little information. This information is coming into us just as it's unfolding, right? This is very new here. But we understand that there have been two cadaver dogs that have hit in two separate areas near the beach where the construction was taking place, where Barry was out moving dirt and putting boulders into the ground as part of a landscaping project that he had. So we are going to have to wait to see how that unfolds. My understanding is that they're working to secure a search warrant right now because it is on private property. They will be required to have a search warrant before they can go in there and dig up that dirt and destroy the landscaping there. So we're just going to have to hold on and let's just hope that there's something significant there. But we're going to have to see how this one plays out.
Yep, it's just another waiting game, guys. I mean, I know we want answers and we want them now, but this is a potential huge lead that we have here, Chappie, and I'm anxious, man, but dang.
I told you, I talked to you about this, Tyson, before we went to the search, and I just felt like something huge. So there's going to be some kind of big announcement that occurred. It didn't occur when I expected it to, but this may be what I was feeling, man. I don't know. We'll see.
Yep, it could be.
Hey, I saw one from Lily Peace there. Can we put that back up once? Thank you, Patty and Pink. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was very generous of you.
Yeah, I saw that question too, Chappie. I think it jumped up there, but I'll tell you what it was. Has anybody heard from Tube Crime and AK to see how they were doing today? Yes, we did. We did talk to Tube Crime, Brandon, earlier today. He said, I want to report that everybody's fine. Everybody's recovering. Everybody's doing good. And guys, if you haven't seen his recent video, go watch it. It's very touching and it's very raw and very real. And I'm so grateful that he put that out there for us to see. And, it kind of gave everybody an idea of how tough this environment is, to be out there searching. And it's real. This is real life stuff. And he was real. And I appreciated that. And Brandon and AK, get well soon, man. We love you guys.
Absolutely.
And like Chappie said, Patty and Pink, thank you for the super sticker and the donation and the membership. We really appreciate you guys. Let's see if we can get some more questions here. I hope. Oh, go ahead, Chappie.
I saw a really good one a minute ago. I'm trying to find it again. I'm sorry. You go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Well, I don't see a question, but I do see this. Oh, where'd it go? Go ahead.
Here's one. You guys were at the vigil. I'd like to know this. Did you hear an engine revving during the vigil?
Yes.
You know who was doing it?
They were doing it purposefully, whoever it was. I don't know, but they were going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And they would wait right until they got near the vigil. And then they would just as loud as they could and blow by. So
what kind of vehicle was it?
It wasn't a vehicle. It was dirt bikes. There were two dirt bikes that were going back and forth.
Oh, that's interesting. Since Barry said he was riding dirt bikes not too long ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make a comment on that because I heard it and I was at the vigil and we were sitting right up against the gate there, and I leaned over to Chappie during the prayer. I don't think it was during the prayer, but I think it was, somebody was speaking at the microphone and I couldn't even hear what they were saying because of these dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And I leaned over to Chappie and I said, Chappie, do you hear that? I said, that is awful. I said, we can't even hear the program. And I said, do you think that's Barry? And I don't know if you heard me, Chappie, but I did. My wheels, started to turn at that point.
It was actually a thought that I had too, Tyson. And I did hear you ask that question. The thing is, I mean, I don't know who it was, but whoever it was intentionally making it difficult for us to hear at that visual.
Well, man, that's messed up.
Well, I mean, this is total 100% speculation. We have no idea. It could have been two teenagers out riding their motorcycle. But if you go back and watch our video, our live from last night. Chappie and I did a very short one right before the program started. You can hear those dirt bikes in the background. I mean, loud and clear. So this was going on. This was going on for a long period of time before the program even started. So I don't know if it would be teenagers just out there going around in circles. You know, it seems like they would have kind of did their thing and then rode off. So it may have been, but who knows? It was just another odd thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a good question in here in the comments. I can't find it now, but I can remember what the question was. So if I can, I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Would that be all right?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
And so the question was, as far as the cadaver dogs are concerned, how long does a person have to be deceased before a cadaver dog can find them and determine that, that there is a deceased person there? And it's actually a very, very short time. Surprisingly, the smell of death begins very, very quickly when a person passes. So it would only be a matter of probably hours at most before the scent of death would begin to be available for a cadaver dog to find.
I'm glad you had that information, Chappie, because that was a great question.
Yeah, that was a really good question. And I'm sorry, I want to give credit to whoever asked that, but I can't find it again in the comments. So my apologies to whoever asked that.
Yeah, that was good because I think that was on a lot of people's minds right there. So, yeah, and then right here, every time I go to click on it, it moves. I'm so sorry. I saw a question there. Here we go. Let's see what this one says. Sandra Miller, do you feel like they are searching in the right areas, or could she be towards Denver? Is anyone searching the route to Denver? So, I'll go ahead and take the first stab at that. So, Sandra, that's a good question. I mean, that's on a lot of people's minds. But really, nobody really knows what the right areas are, so to say that we're searching the right area, the wrong area, there's just no way of knowing which is right, which is wrong. And so we got to start from the very beginning. Where was the last place Suzanne was seen? We've got to go back to that spot and then start there and then expand our search out more and more as time goes on. I highly doubt anybody's searching between Salida and Denver right now because it's just such a vast area. But in the future, maybe that's where the investigation is going to go. But right now, I think the main focus is right there around Barry and Suzanne's home still.
And you nailed it. No, you nailed it right on the head. Anytime there's a missing person investigation, you always start from the last known location, and then you branch off from there. So you hit it right on the head, Tyson. So they're actually searching in the right place, and they'll branch off eventually. But the reality is, could she be near Denver? Yep, she could be near Denver and anywhere in between. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of miles of wilderness that she could be in. Tyson and I were talking about this earlier as we were just looking in awe at the scenery there, the beauty of the scenery, but also the vastness of the mountain range. It literally, I know it sounds a cliche, but it is literally looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yep. And I think that comment was just up on the screen. And if it wasn't then, it is right now.
Yep.
Tracy L., it truly is a needle in a haystack.
It truly is.
And as Chappie and I were driving down the road through Maysville today, I leaned over and I said, by the way, Chappie, that's a very large haystack.
Yes, it is.
And it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of it, guys. And it's, but again, man, we don't give up. We're going to continue. And, if nothing else, a lot of positive can come out of this search. I said it earlier. Dusty, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that there might be a reason that Barry's putting up all these cameras and walking around like he's guarding a fortress or something. She might be closer than any of us think. I don't know that for a fact, but it just seems really crazy that he moved out of that place. And as soon as this search starts, he goes back to this place, starts putting up trail cams. and he's armed, and he's driving around there all crazy, like you said. You saw him driving, and he's putting up barricades or whatever he's doing. So I don't know if that's because he's trying to protect his property, or he just wants to show like he's boss, he's master of his domain or something. I don't know what he's trying to do, but it made me think that maybe he's trying to protect where Suzanne's at. So I don't know. That's just something that popped into my head. And like you said, though, she could be anywhere. That was a good question Sandra had, but we don't have any idea. And I don't know how vast that place is. All I see is the video. You guys know, you've been there, you've walked around, and I could imagine how. I mean, it was overwhelming just to be in Delphi in that place, Tyson.
Yeah.
And how big it was, and like not knowing where we were going most of the time, and just times that like 1,000, like out there in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure. We're talking about the vastness of the terrain out there, and you just have to go see it for yourself. It's majestic, it's rugged, and nobody knows that better than the person on the screen right here. If you look at the screen, that's AK. How you doing tonight, Mr. AK?
Oh, yes.
There's AK. So he knows it better than anybody. Again, guys, I got to give kudos to Mr. AK. I heard a little bit more about what happened. If you guys haven't heard, AK gave it his all as he went out to search for Suzanne. And even though he wasn't feeling well, we won't get into a lot of the details, but he put his whole heart and soul into this search, and he got sick as a result of it. And he was unable to go on, and they kind of had an emergency, but he's doing very, very well now. And we just want to give you kudos, man, and say thank you so much for giving your all to Suzanne.
We love you, AK. Thank you, man.
Yep. Get well soon, bud. Stay well. You know what? Brandon needs you, man. Brandon needs you.
Yes, he does. I saw a question that kind of came up a couple of times about cadaver dogs, and the question was, can a cadaver dog distinguish between the scent of a deceased human and a deceased animal? And the answer is yes, they can.
Okay. All right. Here we have a super chat question from Stay at Home Mom Detective. Thank you so much for your donation. We truly appreciate that, and thank you for your question. Which one of you guys wants to take this question?
I mean, I can talk to this. They need to get cadaver dogs out on Barry's property. I thought that from day one there's an evidence somewhere. Okay, yeah. So the thing is, it's not as simple as taking the cadaver dogs on somebody's property without a warrant. So there's two ways that a property can be searched, and that is by consent, which we know we do not have Barry's consent to do so, and by a warrant signed by a judge based on probable cause. So what would have to happen in this case is the detectives in this case would have to be able to articulate probable cause, meaning that there's evidence that a crime has been committed and that the person or the place to be searched is probably where they're going to find additional evidence. And they have to be able to articulate that in such a way that a district attorney would sign off on that warrant, and a judge would sign off that warrant, indicating that they believe also that there is something of value in that case on that property. So if a detective doesn't have enough information to be able to articulate probable cause, they're not going to be able to get a warrant signed, and they're not going to be able to take cadaver dogs onto the property. So I think that if in this case they believed that they had enough evidence to show that a body may be on that property, they would have been able to get a warrant to be able to take those cadaver dogs on the property. If that has not happened, then they have not been able to establish that probable cause that there is evidence at that particular location. Hopefully that cleared it up.
Clear as mud.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna put this up here real fast. Oh, it disappeared. It's gone. Oh, we're going back to Margaret Lee Reed. That one was gone. So basically, what it said, Chappy, was it said. Let me see. Tyson and Chappy, you guys look tired and sleepy.
And we are.
Yep. You guys need some rest and eat some food, it says. And that was from Samita Piara or something like that. But
yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, we're exhausted, so thanks for noticing.
Yep. I'm getting more and more comments on here about how tired I look. The simple answer to that is I am tired.
Yes, we are.
So, but thank you. I'm going to look at this question right here by. Well, no, I'm not. Where did it go? The altitude is getting to you guys.
Quite possibly oxygen depraved.
Yeah, I think she's right and I think our computer is. It's kind of sick tonight too. It keeps jumping around all over the place here. So do you guys see a question there that we can grab real quick?
I see one from Josie, says, is Trevor on the search?
Okay.
Which Trevor are we talking about?
Talking about Trevor Noel, I think is who they're talking about.
Oh, Trevor Noel. You know what? I don't know. You know what, guys? I don't know who's who, and I know their names, but when you get out there, I'm glad you asked this question because I was going to say this and I forgot. But when Chappy and I showed up out there this morning, Chappy, could we find a parking spot?
No.
It was
jam packed, man.
It was jam packed. Chappy, he had me parked out in the street. I thought I was going to because and that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
And then we saw some horses come out of the bushes, and we were able to talk to those people. They were on horseback. It was amazing, man. We pulled up and the show was rocking and rolling.
Yep.
And it was just, people were out there just at a very, probably at sunrise with their horse trailers and their trucks and their four-wheelers. And it was something to behold.
So many people were out there searching and they were going tirelessly. It's nonstop. And there's so many people that it's impossible for us to be able to bump into everybody. I mean, hundreds of people in this vast wilderness area just doing their best to find something that can help in this case. So there was a lot of people we didn't run into, but we knew we're out there. So.
Okay. So Shannon Burgess widow, horses are awesome. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, man, this guy, and I think it was his wife. I don't know. I assume, but
I think so.
This couple, they rode out of the trees, and I was a little bit startled at first, but I looked up, and the guy had a fluorescent shirt that said Suzanne written right across the chest, and then I looked at his hat, and it had in neon pink a hashtag find Suzanne. And it was just such a sight to behold. I wish I would have had my camera rolling because it was just one of those examples of what is taking place out there, Chappie. We are trying to leave no stone unturned. We've got people on horses. We got drones flying. And I did talk to a guy this morning about the drones that were flying over. It's an amazing operation. I'm just so glad to be a part of it. I don't even know how to say it anymore. I'm just so grateful for you guys and the opportunity to be there. Thank you so much.
Yep. I saw a comment a minute ago. Somebody said that I think it was American Mama or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting, but it said, "Isn't it odd?" Yeah, isn't it? Oh yeah, isn't it odd that Barry got a new truck? Where's the old one, I wonder? So everything that Barry does is odd, to be honest with you. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that just don't make sense. And it may just be that he's an odd person. I don't know Barry, but yes, it is odd to answer that question.
Does he have a new truck, Tyson? Did you see a new truck?
No, I didn't see a new truck. It's a different truck that I think he's had. It's a business truck. Yeah. I think it's one that he uses with his landscaping company that Cassidy Cordova and all the Jeff Puckett and those guys drove. Now we did see his other truck today though, Chappie and I.
We did.
As we were right there at the junction, the 225 and the 50, we actually saw Barry go by in that truck with the Bobcat. And then just behind that, it looked like his daughter was driving the other truck that has the Indiana license plates, the Ford, the silver F-150. It was just behind, wasn't it, Chappie? They were just,
Yeah,
I don't know where
they were definitely caravanning somewhere.
So to answer your question, Barry still has that truck, and why he's driving the other truck, because I don't know. I've heard he's out working. I heard he's out doing jobs. And according to one of my friends who spoke to Barry yesterday, he said that Barry has a lot of work right now, that he has a lot of construction jobs, that he's very busy. And that kind of surprised me, to be honest with you. But he said he has a lot of work. So who he has working for him and what he has going on, I don't know. But that's what Barry told my friend. So I'm assuming that Barry was out doing some work. I don't know. That's what he told Mark, my friend.
Well, I don't know why else he would have a Bobcat. So yeah, he probably is out doing. Well, I could think of a couple of reasons, but
well,
probably not doing that right now.
I'll just say this: it's not unusual for landscapers to have a Bobcat, so I don't find that suspicious in any way. But what I do find a little disheartening and a little weird is the fact that he hasn't helped at all on this search. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Man, there's just so many questions being fired in a rapid sequence.
Oh, I know.
Yep. It's hard to keep up with them.
Well, this is the most. This is the most people we've had in a live. We got over 1,600 people joining us tonight. I'm seeing the comments fly by here.
I see S. Herzog says maybe he was moving a body. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I just have to think that he's probably out doing some work with that Bobcat today and yesterday.
He'd be pretty brazen to move a body with 700 people.
Yeah, I don't think that was the case. I think he was just doing some work.
Yeah, I did have my mask on, Jackie Kerr, at the vigil last night. You know, I was surprised how many people weren't wearing masks. But it was a beautiful night. You know, part of the reason I was wearing the mask is I didn't know what was going on around the area. You know, we saw a very strong police presence. Chappie, you all right? Did you just pass out and fall down in there?
Did you fall again? You fell in the video and now you're falling.
Oh, my phone fell. Sorry, guys.
Oh. No, that's okay. I thought it was you. I thought like you fell down to the floor.
I did fall in the video. That was comical.
Yeah. And I told you I got that on video. So, but no, it was just one of those things where I didn't know what was going on. There was a strong police presence there. Chaffee County Sheriff's Office was there. They had a strong presence there. And so, I wanted to be safe, guys. That's all. I'm not paranoid. I'm not going to live my life in fear, but at the same time, I'm trying not to be as stupid as I used to be. I got Chappie and Dusty to hey, Tyson, put a mask on. All right, give me that mask. So
Tyson and I have had some conversations about safety, haven't we, Tyson?
Yes, we did, Chappie. And I trust you, brother, literally with my life,
Wow.
So no, but thank you guys for those questions. So that's pretty much all the information we have to pass on. We can answer more questions. I kind of like this question and answer, don't you guys?
Yeah, it's great. I think it's wonderful.
Okay, why don't we pick some more questions here then, guys?
All right, let me see what we got here.
Somebody asked earlier, can we hear more from Dusty? Well, I wasn't out there, so I'm enjoying just listening. But if there's something you guys want to ask me, go for it. But right now I'm just kind of like you. I'm looking at the comments and I'm also listening to their stories. So that's probably why you're not hearing much from me, because I like hearing what they had to say about the search.
We like hearing from Dusty too, though. So that's awesome.
Well, Dusty,
I'll chime in when I got something to say.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments over there talking about how you're kind of like my older brother, my spiritual advisor, and that's true. That's way more true than you guys even know. So I saw it go by, but I wanted to take this question right here from Kelly Fitzgerald. So at the Draper brothers, do you know if they checked any septic tanks at the Morphew house or new construction house? I have no absolute zero knowledge of that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how anybody would know that outside of law enforcement. Chappie, can you help us on that one?
I haven't heard that at all, and I think we would probably know that. If they would have to disrupt the property, they would have to dig. They'd have to bring in a backhoe and dig in order to do that. So I think that would be something that would be widely reported if they were digging up his property. So I don't think it's happened. And again, it goes back to the search warrant. They would have to have a search warrant establishing probable cause as to why they believe that the body would be found in the septic tank.
Yeah, that's not an easy task, especially on a home that maybe on the new construction it would be a lot easier, but not on a home that's already tapped in and stuff like that. That would be a major undertaking. So, but it is definitely, like you said, something that is worth looking into and an interesting question. So, yes, Kid Crazy Toys and More. I agree with you. Those poor people on the beach property, these people are, again, they're victims. They're innocent. It's just collateral damage from, if something sinister did happen here, we've got a lot of victims, and these people are just one of them. So, does somebody want to touch on Suzanne's daughters? The question, or what?
From what I heard about Suzanne's daughters, his youngest daughter is with him. At least in the new place, I think. But that's just from a source that told us that. We're not 100% positive, so I don't know how they're doing. I haven't really heard much about them. So
I can only imagine. I mean, they're young. What, like 20 and 15, something like that? Do we know their ages?
17 and 20. 17
and 20. 17 and 20. I can only imagine being a father of 4 daughters myself, and in that age range, as a matter of fact. I can only imagine the confusion, the pain, that is going through their minds right now. I'm sure they don't know what to think. Their mom's gone. They're seeing all these videos and reports that she's most likely deceased. People are saying that their dad may have something to do with it, and I'm sure in their mind they don't want to believe that. I feel for these girls, and quite frankly, I honestly think that we should probably just leave them alone.
Well, yeah, I agree, Chappie. Yeah, and people are wondering where they're at. We know that the older one is in college. If you've been following this case, you'll know that that's one of the reasons why Barry and Suzanne moved to Colorado, supposedly, was to be closer to the daughter who's in college. The younger daughter, we believe, we've heard from a very reliable source that the younger daughter is living with Barry at the time. And wherever they're at now, in their apartment or their condo or whatever, over in Poncha Springs. But we hear where they're at and what they're doing, but again, they're collateral damage, and it's just awful. It's just awful for them. There's no other way to describe it, man.
My heart breaks for them.
We have respect for them, tremendous respect, and we don't want to do anything to put them in the spotlight in a bad way or anything like that. So Dusty, how's the grandbaby doing? There you
go. Doing good. They're home now. I talked to my daughter today. She's being really cautious. We haven't met the little guy yet, so we're waiting to do that. We talked about when that was going to happen, and it's going to be soon. So we're really anxious to meet him, but with COVID and all that stuff going on, my wife is in the medical profession, so we're gonna take extra precautions because she has the potential to be exposed when she works. So, yeah, but so far so good. I know my daughter, this is her first time having a baby, and I know she said I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like, well, nobody does.
Nobody does.
Don't even worry about it.
Yep.
Hey, Dusty, since you're already speaking, I saw one from Sibling Style that asked, "Hey, Dusty, do we have any word on how Lauren Scharf is doing?" Do you want to answer that?
I wouldn't be the one to ask that because I've never talked to Lauren myself. Tyson
I
is
can
the one that
answer it.
communicates with her. So
Yeah, we had that question a lot too, and quite frankly, I didn't have the answer. We heard that Lauren is doing well and that she is on a little hiatus right now, and that she is spending some time with her family, and everything's fine. But she just, she's got some things going on as far as threats or anything like that from anybody, specific threats. I have no idea. Lauren has not relayed any of that information to me. But I do know that, she's on a little break, and she's going to be figuring some things out, and we'll be hearing from her when we do. And we want to wish her the very, very best from the Draper Brothers channel and Chappy. So
Absolutely. Looks like Monica Peterson has a question here. How long does it take, or how long does it normally take to get a warrant? That's a good question, and the answer is it varies. I mean, honestly, because there's various types of warrants. First of all, and it can take anywhere from a couple of hours to a couple of days to a couple of months, even to a couple of years, because there's very specific criteria that has to be met. And you have to be able to articulate enough evidence to a judge, for a judge to determine whether or not it's enough for you to forcefully go onto somebody's property or forcefully go to somebody and take them into custody, and damage their property. In many cases, these searches require digging holes, busting up concrete, looking through people's personal articles. I mean, it's very intrusive. A search warrant is very intrusive, and the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, protects our rights to privacy, protects our rights, and so we have to have these checks and balances. So the law enforcement officer has to do their due diligence in their search to determine whether or not they believe there's enough to show that there's a piece of evidence at this location that they need to go in and get. And then they got to take it to a district attorney who will review that. And if the district attorney doesn't think that there's enough, they're going to send it back to the officer and say, you got to get more info for us. And it could go back and forth for a long time before it even reaches the judge. And then the judge may have some questions, and they may send it back down to law enforcement and say, until these questions are answered, I'm not going to sign a warrant. Warrants are serious. It's not just, hey, I want a warrant because I have a hunch. This is, I need a warrant because we're looking specifically for A, B, and C at this location, and we have this evidence to show that A, B, or C is most likely on this property. So it's just like I said, it could take hours, it could take days, months, years in some cases.
And Nick Palmer said it very well there, Chappy, on the screen.
All right. Very cool. Thanks, Nick.
Yep. And it's one of those things, guys. It's just going to be a waiting game. Again, I know we want to get in there in that backyard and start tearing it up tomorrow, but we have to be very patient and just wait for, the things to happen here, that need to happen. And so it may take some time.
I know it's frustrating, guys, but our Constitution, it was designed to protect individuals from false accusations, to protect individuals from searches and seizures that are unreasonable. And I'm very grateful, and I think that we have to have patience in this and trust that law enforcement is building a case, maybe not on our time scale or on our time frame, but they're building a case, and in the end, the truth will, we will have resolution. I firmly believe that.
Yep. I'm going to take a question from across the seas here from the Scottish girl, Lynn Stewart. Thank you, Scott. Scottish girl, Lynn Stewart. Tyson, man, I can't hardly see without my glasses. Were you suspicious the first time when Barry just appeared looking wet and frantic? Had that part been searched? Well, that's tough for me to say if I was suspicious at that time. Yes, I was suspicious to a certain extent, but I was so new to the case. The case was only 3 weeks old, and so I didn't know a ton about it. But was I suspicious of Barry? Absolutely, absolutely. And when I saw him wet and frantic, I knew something wasn't right. But it's so hard to distinguish, Chappie, and you know this because you were in law enforcement. It's so hard sometimes to distinguish between the grieving spouse and somebody that did something very horrible to their spouse. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Like I said, people grieve in different ways. And there's various stages of grief, and you'll repeat some of those stages. You'll skip one and go to another, and then maybe go back and revert to that other stage later on. And people are very unpredictable when they're grieving. I've had people in law enforcement, when I would go and give a death notification, I would have people throw things at me, call me a liar, and tell me to get out of their house. I would have people cry on my shoulders. I would have people just stand there in silence. There's so many different ways a person could react when they're grieving. And the truth is, grief and the grief of loss and the grief of regret can look very similar sometimes.
Absolutely. And that's what I couldn't distinguish between, that's what all of us struggle. We don't, is it this way or this way? And it's just really, really hard to tell. So I don't know. Was I suspicious? Absolutely. But I wasn't ready to, make a determination just based off of that. I needed more information. And, even to this day, months later, it's still hard to tell sometimes. It truly is. And this question right here, it goes hand in hand with that, what we were just talking about from Chartreuse Seeker. Tyson, in the Facebook section, it was stated that Barry was searching for Suzanne when you first met Barry. Was Barry really searching for Suzanne at that moment you met him, Tyson? Well, if you're talking about the day that I filmed Barry, then that day he was not out searching for Suzanne. He was with his mother, as you will recall, and they were on their way to Walmart. And so he wasn't searching that day. If you're talking about the day before where he was wet and frantic, that's what we were referring to just a second ago. I don't know what he was doing. I truly don't. And the more information that comes out, the more suspicious that looks. What was he doing with this truck backed up right there? Who was this? Whose car was sitting right next to Barry's truck? And I had never really considered that before because I was wondering where Barry magically appeared from that day. Was he hiding behind a tree? Was he over here? Because it's so forest dense that it was, maybe I didn't see him. And I never considered him getting out of that other car that was sitting right there. So whose car was that? What were they doing? So yeah, it just raises more and more suspicion with the more details that we get. What was he doing out that day? Was he searching, or was he hiding evidence, or anything, in between? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I can tell you what I think happened. I think he saw you the day before. He might have been out doing stuff. I don't know what he was doing the day before, but I think he saw you. And then I think that he went out looking for you the next day to see. And then he wanted to talk to you and see what was going on, see who you were. So,
yeah, that could be. But here's the problem I have with that, Dusty, is that when he went by that first day, he didn't even look at me. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even know I was there, even though I was blatantly right in front of him, because he was so out of his mind that he looked like he didn't even see me. So, I mean, if you're going to do that, it seems like you would at least look at the person and be like, who's this guy? What's he doing out here close to my house? And by the way, wouldn't you be super suspicious of somebody walking around your house 3 weeks after your wife went missing?
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking. He might have saw you on those broke security cameras that he has walking around, you know?
Yeah, but okay, so that was one of Barry's theories from the very beginning, that she got abducted, right?
Mm.
That was
Yes.
that was one that he was pushing. Okay, so here's the problem I have with that. The day that he saw me, the day before I filmed him, if I'm wandering around in his neighborhood with a camera, a total stranger that he's never seen before in his entire life, wouldn't he kind of like look and stop and be like, what is this guy doing? I mean, my wife could have been abducted 3 weeks ago. Like, I'm going to find out who this guy is and what he's doing here. He did not have a care in the world who I was or what I was doing out there. He didn't even know I was there. He didn't even acknowledge me. Isn't that very telling right there in and of itself, that he didn't even look at a total stranger, and supposedly his wife went missing 3 weeks earlier? What do you guys think of that?
At the very least.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Setsy.
I was going to say, I just had a short comment. I was going to say there was no reason for him to be suspicious of you if he knows what was going on. So that is very telling, just like you said.
Yeah, I was just simply going to say, if indeed his theory was that his wife had been abducted, at the very least, wouldn't he call the sheriff's office and say, hey, there's a suspicious character walking around near my property. This is what he looks like. Give a description and say, could you please check him out for me? At the very least.
Let me tell you something. That's a good point, because what happened to us in Delphi, Tyson? We got the cops called on us just because Tyson tried to talk to somebody. He was holding a screwdriver we found on the ground. So, I mean, I can understand why she wouldn't want to talk to us and why she called the cops. And as soon as he walked away, I was like, man, maybe you shouldn't have walked up there with that screwdriver. And then later on, the cops showed up and talked to us, but it was all good. So.
Yeah, that screwdriver, man, I was taking that for evidence. And and I forgot I was holding it. You're right, Dusty. I should have never walked up on that lady. But no, you're right. Yeah, that's a really good point, Chappy, that you would get on the phone and say, hey, some suspicious guy is wandering around out here. We want it. If nothing else, let's just check him out and see what he's up to.
Exactly.
Did not say a word. Did not even flinch.
That's weird.
It speaks volumes to me. In hindsight, you know.
Here's a question that stood out to me. Tyson, can you remember the first day? Wasn't it raining? And yes, it was raining because I edited those videos. You're talking about the video with you in the yellow shirt the day before you saw Barry.
Hey,
it was raining.
Oh, were they asking if it was raining, Dusty? The question disappeared, and that. But okay, yeah, it was raining that day. It was, but it was a weird kind of rain. It wasn't this tremendous downpour. It was coming sideways. There was a strong wind. And the reason I say that is because it's not the drenching kind of rain. Barry was drenched. He was drenched that day, like he had fallen in the creek. So he wasn't wet from the rain. It had barely started raining. Go watch the video. A few drops were hitting me in the face, but it was not a torrential downpour. And Barry looked like he was in that kind of a storm. He was wet.
You kept walking around filming, and I mean, it wasn't where you had to go run and get your equipment out of the rain, or your shirt wasn't even that wet, really.
You know what? Sometimes I get long-winded and I give you these long answers. I could have summed it up like Felicia Lewis did here. Sprinkling.
Hey,
it was a weird rain. It was just like coming down a little bit.
There you go. Yep, it was sprinkling. Thank you.
Can I answer Andy Crayon's question?
Yes.
Andy Crayon, she asked what my thoughts are on the dogs hitting. I can say that if the dogs truly hit on an area, I have absolute confidence that there's something there. Whether or not there's a body there, they're going to hit on, if there ever was a body there that was deceased, they're going to hit on that scent as well. Whether it was above ground, below ground, or pieces of a body, whatever, I have confidence in those dogs' ability to be able to find that. So if they are hitting on those areas, it's very significant.
Thank you, Chappy. That I don't even have a comment. That was perfect. I'm gonna take Lorraine Perez's question here. It says, "What about the lunch bags you found, Tyson? And have you searched where you saw Barry so wet?" Okay, that's an interesting question, Chappy, because where did we find that bone that we saw that had the saw marks on each end? Where did we find that? Do you remember?
We found it exactly where Barry was backed up into that area right behind. Like so Barry's this. Let's say this is the back of his truck. Let me get over here. This is the back of his truck. There's a little tiny drop off right here at the ledge. That we just found it right up underneath that, in that same spot where Barry was backed into.
So that was a place of interest for Chappy and I. That was one of the first places we wanted to check because in hindsight, things start to become more and more clear. You start seeing things more 2020, and that's what's been happening, as more things come out. So I wanted to check that specific area right there where Barry was backed up, and we found that bone right there. And so that really increased my suspicion based off of the prior knowledge that I had of Barry being backed up there that day. So it just, and they brown bagged it. They put evidence on the front of it and they took it away and examined it like we mentioned earlier. But yes, we have searched that area. And I'm sure it's been searched 1,000 times now because it's not very far from where her bike was discovered. So.
Hey, I like this one. Sorry, I went over your comment, but it says, "What or has anything just gave you the creeps?" I'm sure they're asking Tyson on all your little adventures. Has anything ever gave you the creeps or freaked you out?
I saw a big old spider when we were digging in that hole. that kind of totally creeped me out. But I was able to shake it off my hand real fast. I should have grabbed something and started digging in that hole, Chappy. I was going crazy with my hand.
It was a little weird, but that's all right.
Yeah,
I can tell you from being Tyson's brother that not much freaks him out.
Yeah,
he was always the kind of kid that would at our football field when we grew up. It was right by our house, and there was this thing they called the crow's nest, and he would drag these what they call them, those mats that you pole vault on, and then you land on the other side and you land on this mat. He would drag these mats over by this crow's nest, which was about 40 feet in the air.
Oh, man.
And he would jump off of those. And I thought, man, you are crazy, dude. There's no way I would do that. That was just one thing. There was many things he did like that.
Tyson and I are very, very similar in the fact that we're ready and willing to go and jump into circumstances before we actually think about the consequences. I've gotten a lot better over the years, Tyson. I'm sorry, bro, but you're still, hey, let's just jump in here and see what happens kind of guy without thinking it through. But that's what's awesome about you, man.
That's right. And sometimes that behavior leads to very, very positive results.
Exactly.
And I'm grateful that is my personality. As we get older, man, you just want to start chilling out a little bit, but guys, I'm not going to. I refuse, man. I refuse.
I can tell you this though. I saw firsthand how creeped out he was after coming back across that bridge from Delphi. That really hit him. I don't know if it creeped him out, but it affected him because that lasted the rest of the day. And he said, that's just an evil place, and I don't want to go back anytime soon. I remember him saying that. So,
that Dusty, thank you for saying that. Crossing the bridge wasn't a problem for me. Honestly, it wasn't a problem. I wasn't scared crossing that bridge, but it was just the feeling, the evil feeling that I got there. And so that kind of creeped me out. It really did. Oh, there goes Chappy.
I did it again. Oh, man. I'm looking at these comments, and the way that I have my phone here attached, it's easy to drop. So
I wish Julie hadn't fed us that fried chicken now.
So here's the deal. I normally use my computer for these, but one of my daughters is doing homework right now, so she's using my computer. I have my phone. It's not rigged very well. But can I answer a question for Elaine Lemon? I think I said that right.
I thought you were transporting like on Star Trek or something.
Yeah, go ahead, Chappy.
Yeah, Elaine asked a real good question. Can the dogs detect scent if the cadaver was there but then moved? And the answer is yes. They will be able to smell that scent even if the body has been moved.
Thank you, Chappy.
Yep.
Let's see. So we're 15 minutes over the hour mark. So why don't we take like one more question?
He's a lifer. Crappy.
Thanks, Kimberly. And my name's Chappy, not Crappy, but I mean, some people think I'm pretty crappy, so that's okay.
She corrected herself on the right after.
Hey, hey, you know what's happening with that? That right there is actually what do you call it? Where autocorrect. That's autocorrect. Because when you type in Chappy, so just so you know, you don't have people calling you crappy, man. It's autocorrect.
I fully understand that.
All right, guys. Well, I see a lot of people laughing over there in the comments, and we want to end on a positive note tonight. We've had a great discussion here. I want to thank the panel, Dusty and Chappy. As always, you guys are fantastic. Thank you for your insights. And Chappy, thank you for going with me, man, to Maysville, Colorado, and for a wonderful trip. Not only was it fun out searching with you, but the drive time was amazing. The conversation was, and it was just so nice to reconnect with you, bro. So thank you very much for going.
Man, it was my pleasure, and thank you for allowing me to go, man.
Yeah, we're so glad that you're a part of this. So, and Dusty, thank you for all that you do, man. So those are my parting thoughts. I want to tell just quickly, I do want to tell our subscribers and our members and everybody who participated and donated tonight. Thank you guys so much. As I always say, love you guys. You guys are terrific. Thank you so very much for everything that you do for the Draper Brothers channel, for Suzanne, or Nick Cordova, for all the people that we're covering and the cases that we cover, the Delphi case as well. So just love you guys. Thank you so much. And until next time, guys, thank you. Thank you again.
Yeah, I love you guys. Thank you. It's been fun.
Remember, be kind to. Oh, go ahead, Seth. Dusty.
I was going to say thank you to our moderators. They got a hard job tonight.
Yeah, they do.
There was a lot of people in here. I want to thank Maui Girl, and I want to thank Tamara. You guys always do an amazing job, and I appreciate it. We need to get more to help you out. Sorry.
Anything else, Chappy?
Yep. Just a reminder, we are all brothers and sisters. Be kind to one another. Love you guys.
Absolutely. Take care,
guys. Thank you all for donating and